All right, hey musical scientists, welcome to this handy little tutorial video, or making of, or whatever you want to call it. I thought I'd just go through a few things about the process of making this song, CRISPR-Cas9, which took a long time to make and has a lot of stuff going on, especially at the ending. So I thought I'd sort of run you through it so you can see a little bit of my process, at least for the audio portion of this. This program that I'm using is called Studio One. It's by these guys called Presonus, which is a very good company. It's where I got my audio box too that I use to record all my audio. This program, the artist version of it, came with the box, so I started using it, and I've just been upgrading it when they upgrade. One of the things I really like about it is that you have these handy dandy folders, because I'm working with so many tracks here that I used to, before they introduced this, just have a wall of tracks that I would always get lost in. But here you can put them in nice little folders, you can color code them, and then you can expand them out to be big things. So you can see well what's going on. All right, so the section I want to look at is probably the most complicated section in the entire recording. It's this last part of the last verse sort of coming off of the bum, boom, boom, that sort of slow thing. Going into where it all just sort of goes insane and the band goes nuts, and it's like the big epic finale before it sort of cuts off and the leads do their thing. I've been calling the leads the Chordettes over here just because, that was the actual name of the band. So when I label my tracks, I just sort of go on my whims. So these are the Chordettes, and their backup band consisting entirely of me. Let's play the section and see what it sounds like.
You have the power to vanquish or save us. Who would have thought that the microbe gave us Cas9? Aspire to knees, the source of strength and machine disease. How's this marvelous machine? Full of uses, greater than sin. CRISPR-Cas9, bring us, please don't sting us. Cas9, bring us. With that it needed.
All right, so that's the section I want to focus on right there. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to know is when doing these things, you should really have a click track going. This is why I've got the tempo up here all synced to exactly what's going on, so I can actually have a variable click track, and if I put it on, you can hear. Right, the click track is very useful just for keeping yourself synced up with everything. If you're doing something this intense, you're definitely gonna have to do some digital adjustments and drag things around and stuff, but you want to minimize that as much as possible because time is money. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna show you, I guess, is the drums. So let's expand these out. There's a bunch of drums going on here. Let's see, solo that, and not actually. So let's see, what have we got in this section? We've got the bass drum. He's just going back and forth. This is just one bass drum sample that I did once, and then I copied it over and over again, which is just, it's easier to get a consistent sound that way. Let's see, we got the hi-hats. And you can tell in that too, there's some copying over. There's a little bit of manipulating it so it falls right on the beat, just so we get a really good bass of rhythm lying down that's right on the cue. Let's see, we've got the cymbals down here, and I've got one set of cymbals that's doing the ksh, ksh, and then another one just for the swells, so I can EQ them differently and stuff. So let's just look at that ending section with the cymbals. We got. So you got that. We've got over here the snare. Was this a snare fill, I think, or like a roll on the snare? Yeah. So if I solo that, you can tell it's just like a thing on the tongue. Yeah, just gives it a bit of a orchestral feel. And then down here we've got the fill, the drum fill, and the actual snare hits that I've been doing too. So if we solo the entire folder, then it's going to sound like this. So there's that. You can tell that's kind of echoey, and it sounds a little bit weird by itself. You probably wouldn't EQ drums this way if you were just doing a drum track by itself, but because this is in an entire sort of orchestral arrangement, I want it to have the feel of being in one sonic space. So if you imagine a drum kit in the back of a huge music hall and, you know, hundreds of instruments playing over it, then it's going to be really natural for it to have that really reverby sound. So it sounds weird by itself, but when you come in with everything else and it's all in that same reverb space, then it really sounds like it comes together. And it would be weird to have these be super dry and have everything else be echoing out like that. So that's why I do that. So down to the pretty much all the rest of this, except with a couple of exceptions, is the orchestra. I think there's one bass track somewhere up here, if I can find that. Yeah, orchestra bass. I'm not even, yeah. Okay, let's look at what that does. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's just a bass. One thing I do with the bass sometimes, if you call this cheating, then whatever, call me a cheater. I learned this from Mike Tompkins, who's like the founder of a cappella music on YouTube. So if he can do it, whatever, I can do it. You take the bass and you double it down an octave. Yeah, so that's just like there was a while at the beginning where I was trying to actually do those notes. Like I can get down to them like, oh, do, 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 do. But it sounds really, you know, I'm not a bass, so it doesn't have that same power to it. So sometimes I'll try to represent that in the song, in like the videos. Like you'll notice in the Pluto Mars one, there's actually, the bass track is doubled and sort of made black and white on the second one. And I was trying to represent the like, yeah, I am doing this. If you want to call it a bad digital trick, whatever, sue me. It sounds good. That's the end of the day. That's sort of my philosophy on everything is if it sounds good, do it. So let's go down to the orchestra. Everything else is pretty much in here except for these chordettes, which I'll get to last. Let's take a look at the string section. There's a really cool part in here that I want you guys to hear because it sort of gets lost in the initial mixture. You know what? I think I'll keep these drums going just so we've got some sense of other stuff happening. They're not going to interfere too much. So let's hear this top string line. I really like. It took me a while to figure out how to do it and practice it over and over until I could actually do the notes. But it sort of gets lost in the mix, but it really adds to kind of the movement and like lively feel of this ending thing. You can just imagine like string players going nuts if you can imagine it in your mind's eye. Yeah, so that's fun. And then down here, I've pretty much with all the strings, a lot of the string parts, I doubled them about 4 times because I wanted them to have a nice range from left to right stereo, and I just wanted to make it sound full. So here's this part. This is the theme that I sort of introduced in verse 4 in the background, and I'm bringing it back here, where these 4 strings here are doing sort of a call. Let's take these off for a second. So these strings are doing like a call. And they sort of hold that high note, which gives room for the response to come in here at the bottom. So if I can show you what these look like. So. Yeah, and I think, what are these guys doing here? I think they're just coming in with sort of a few more chords in this ending part. Oh, I know what that is. Okay, hold on. This is the this going up, so it really, I'm not sure what it does musically, but I like it. Yeah, and then I think I've got these guys up here adding to that. Yeah, just all sort of doing that together. So if I bring back the drums. I lost them for some reason. Bring back the drums, and I'll show you this entire string section together. You can hear what it sounds like. Hear the call coming in, and then these guys. So already you can hear it's starting to sound a little full. You've got the chords, you know, this chord at the end, which is some sort of suspended, I think, although I just keep adding notes into chords until I like the sound of them and they sound sufficiently complicated. So then let's go to the opposite, where we've got these horns. Horns are always yellow in my mind. I'm a bit of a synesthete, which means that like a lot of things that wouldn't normally have colors are associated with colors. I mean, with the horns, maybe it's just that it's brass instruments. But like the strings, I really feel like they're red, and I'm not sure why. But hey, if you want another color scheme, I will not fault you. So let's see what we've got for these horns. These are mostly, yeah, a lot of these at the beginning, they're not doing too much. They're just sort of adding this flourish. I can show you that. Yeah, just doing that. Everything else. Oh, there's this bottom one, which is kind of doubling what the bass is doing. It's kind of like a tuba effect. There's a few things that I like doing here, especially in this one section here, where I've just tried to do a bunch of things that I imagine that a big band would be doing when the orchestrator just says, like, go crazy, do whatever you want. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they like follow meticulous notes and stuff. But you've got these guys at the top doing this like, and then you've got the trombones down here doing sort of a slide, and then this guy, and this guy's sort of another trombone doing like a, I don't know if you can hear that. So when it goes all together, you sort of get this ridiculous circus feel to it, and they all come together. You can hear there I'm doing some dynamic stuff. Another important thing with production is you want to do some automation some of the time, because there's only so much you can do while controlling for, like, I'm compressing the heck out of a lot of these tracks to keep them all level, just so I don't have to go through methodically and tune them all to the right volume. So that means that I lose a lot of dynamical range. And so the way that you sort of adjust for that is then you go into your automation settings for these master tracks, and you actually put in some of the you put in some of the dynamics that you want. So for here, I've dropped it down, and then I'm doing like a crescendo up here, just to give it a bit of a punch. Yeah, so that's the horns, and here, let's turn these back on. And then for the other general section, I'm just calling it the backup band. This is, I mean, it's generic. It's vocals, right? So it's mostly bas and das and stuff like that, which don't really, I mean, they're not associated to a particular instrument, but they just round out the whole sound. They give it an a cappella feel, and a lot of them are kind of doubling what the leads are doing. So the one thing is that we got these ones, which if there's that oompa, the dom bom 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 that's going on. Maybe I can turn that on as well. These are providing the backbeat for that, so they're following the snare as opposed to the bass drum. Right, so those kind of give you that rhythmic feel. And then let's see what these guys are doing. I actually don't know for a lot of these. There's so many tracks that I lose track of this a lot of the time. And actually, when I'm doing the video, I actually have to go and listen to them methodically and remember, oh, what the heck was I doing there? Okay, so what are these doing? Oh, these are doubling the horns, I think. They're doing that same flourish. Yeah. Yeah, just giving it a little more volume and a little more richness to the sound, because the horns are pretty tinny. You got that same flourish at the top there. Down here, we've got this one guy who I brought way up because he's got a thing that I want to hear very well. Just that one note is really important to ring out. It's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know why I did it only with that one voice, because that would be like a whole section of a band probably. And of course, when I say one voice, you can see that there's actually two here. I'm doubling pretty much everything I do, just so I have the ability to pan it left and right, and give like a full stereo sound, because otherwise it'd be all in the center of your auditory field, and it would actually sound very strange. So doing at least two gives it some room to sort of spread out. So let's listen to that whole backup band and see what they sound like all together, along with a couple other things that I've randomly put in. You can hear, except for the lack of bass there, that actually sounds almost like a full a cappella choir. Like, that's probably how it would sound if you were doing something like this live. But because I have the freedom to, do a million tracks and also to double things when I want interesting timbres, that's where all these horns come in useful. They give it a very bright sound. So I think the last thing that I'm going to show you, the last thing that we have is just these leads down here, which of course are where all the good sciencey stuff comes in. So you can actually get some, science for your buck, and you're not just listening to me, wax crazy about music. A lot of these chordettes parts. You have the power to vanquish or save us. Who would have thought that the microbe that gave us Cas9 aspiogenes? I'm not even sure what some of these chords are. I mean, they're like sevenths and ninths mostly, because it's all barbershop. So you've got these four. You've got the lead, the tenor, the baritone, and the bass, just like any good barbershop quartet. And they're just doing their thing. The source of strep and flesh-eating disease. How's this marvelous machine? Full of uses, great and obscene. CRISPR-Cas9, bring us, please don't sting us. Cas9, bring us on. I love that ending chord. I don't know what it is. I don't know what a lot of these chords are, to be honest. Especially if you go back to that like jazzy section. I think it's verse 4, where I sort of break it down and we get the cool lights and stuff. All these things I pretty much just did from like trying things on the piano. I spent a couple of days just trying to, about a day, trying to arrange this stuff. And I just went with what sounded good to me, but I actually don't know the names of any of these chords. So if anyone wants to listen to this and is like a really good ear-trained person and can tell me what these chords actually are, that would be cool. CRISPR-Cas9, bring me a gene by commandeering my repair routine. A strand to match your severed location for some homologous recombination. Cas9, cheap and precise, rewriting genomes from microbes to mice, and soon the humble human being. CRISPR-Cas9, bring me a gene. Yeah, so I mean, if any of you can just listen to that and tell me what all those chords are, I don't know, put it in the comments and I'll send you a poster or something. Anyways, going back to, there's one final thing for these, this ending here, and it's literally just this timpani note. That's right there. That's just right at the end. Cas9. Let's put these on again so you can hear where that is. Cas9, bring us on! Because what's an orchestra without a timpani, right? And besides, then that becomes really important in this final section. With adenine and thymine and cytosine, Cas9, bring us our gene. let's listen to all of that together. Oh, and yes, if you're asking, I did do this thing in one note. This G. I held it for a long time, and Tom, my cameraman, was actually in the same room at the time listening to music, and he thought there was some sort of crazy like machine noise going on in his headphones just because this one tone kept going and going and going. But yes, that is really me. No stretching involved or anything like that, just lung capacity. Okay, well, let's you've heard all the sections, so let's just go back. The final thing, I guess I'll play the whole thing and you can hear how it sounds, and I'll sort of scroll through, listen for the various parts. And this has been your training of the day on how to make overly complicated a cappella songs. So here you go.
Who would have thought that the microbe gave us Cas9 as Biogenes? The source of German flesh-eating disease. How's this marvelous machine? Full of uses, great and obscene. CRISPR-Cas9, bring us, please don't sting us. Cas9, bring us up. With adenine and thymine and cytosine. Cas9, bring us up.
So that's it. That's all she wrote. Sorry for the click track there. I forgot to turn it off. Oh well, now you get to hear how I hear these things for days and days and days. So thanks for watching this whole video. Sorry if it was a bit long, but hey, it's a technical thing. If you're not interested, you don't have to watch it. But yeah, thanks for your support, everybody. Hit subscribe. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can go do that. If you want to just share the video with your friends, I encourage you to go and click the links at the end and learn more about CRISPR, especially that Chords video that I linked, because that's a really good introduction, even though I was mad at them when they put it out because I thought I was going to be the first. Okay, anyways, my name is Tim Blay. This has been A Cappella Science 2, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.
A Cappella Science 2.